Michael Keller joining us on the podcast right now. Michael, so glad to have you on, my friend. Thanks for carving out some time for us.
Absolutely. Great to be here with you. Thank you.
Oh man, it's our pleasure. So I would like to first start out by asking you, I know the founder of the company is from the Northeast, but he came down here. He started his first Jeremiah's Frozen Ice location in Winter Park, and things grew from there. Can you give us the Marvel origin story of Jeremiah's? Because I don't think a lot of people realize that this is a homegrown company.
Yeah, very much homegrown. So, and a funny thing too is Jeremy is his name, Jeremy Litwack, amazing guy from South Jersey. I'm from South Jersey. So you got two Jersey boys that are down in Florida running Jeremiah's Italian Ice. Yeah, which is kind of funny. And actually, I'm Michael from New Jersey. So technically I am Jersey Mike, but I have nothing to do with it.
Wrong company, man.
Wrong company, but I love walking in and saying, I'm Jersey Mike. So it's a great story because I don't know how much you know about what's going on. Let's say Philadelphia, right? It's like the seat of Philly cheesesteaks, right?
Right.
But it's not all that Philly's famous for. One of the things that Philadelphia is famous for is Italian ice, otherwise known as water ice. But in Philadelphia, they call it water ice.
Water.
And you have to say that the right way. Can you guys say that? Water ice.
Well, let's give it a shot. Wooder. Almost like wood. Woodier.
No. Right. It's like wood. Wooder.
Wood. I'm doing water.
W-A-R. Water.
All right, let's pretend Ginger
ice.
Could say this, Michael.
Oh my God, water ice. Okay.
No, you're still hitting it too hard, Ginger. All right, we're going to move on from you. It has to be. Matt's got it. It's water ice.
No.
Water ice.
So
water ice.
It goes back decades in Philly, and you can wander around Philly and see some of the most epic, classic places, little holes in the wall that serve like the original Italian ice. And that's part of what inspired Jeremy. And he started messing around with water ice as early as 1988. He went to University of Delaware, and he was playing around in New Jersey in the Philly area and really got it in his head that this is something that he wanted to create. And fortunately for us, decades later, Jeremy has really good taste buds. So he spent a lot of time perfecting some flavors of Italian ice. And once he found secret formulas, things that he really loved, he started peddling it in the area, some cases like literally behind a push cart, sometimes on rollerblades. And he was a former hockey player at Delaware, so he could skate quite well. And all of this eventually led to what felt to him like, God, there's real interest in this stuff. But he felt like maybe a better place for it would be in warmer weather markets. And so he took all of his ideas and some of his flavors down to Florida. And literally one day was just driving around looking for places to start when he came across the location that you just mentioned and said, this is where it's going to start. And he found his first location, and we got started in 1996 in Central Florida, specifically in Orlando and Winter Park. Pretty cool.
This is so cool because when you were describing that whole scenario, it sounded like Disney coming to Florida, looking for the perfect place to plant a theme park. I mean, on a lesser scale is Jeremiah's, right? But the same concept.
Very much so. He had a big dream, right? And I don't even think he knew at the time how big this could all become, but he loved what he was on to. He knew people were crazy for this Italian ice he had made, or water ice as he called it, and as the Philadelphians called it, South Jersey too. And once he got down here, he realized, okay, this is probably the place for it. And as you can imagine, it took a little while to take hold, like anything does. Store started out very slow. He had some fun ways to kind of kickstart things and get it started. But eventually, as you can imagine, it took hold.
Has he ever told you about some of the struggles? Because it feels like we see these businesses that blow up and that go crazy like this, and it seems like they're an overnight success. Was there some moments in there where he was worried that this business might not work? He took it from one little stand into this huge thing?
Yeah, there were always moments. One of the great things about Jeremy is just he's so real, he's so down to earth. So if he's worrying about something, he'll let you know he's worrying about something. I think he was more than confident in how great this product was, but he was introducing really a Northeastern concept, right? Philly, Jersey, to Florida. And even though back then there were snowbirds too, still had to build some momentum. And he had some, what he would describe scary days in some of the early stores, quiet, nobody in the drive-through. He has one very funny story that I love. He just told it again during our Leap Back Day event when we celebrated our 7th leap year. His first store was so, but unbusy, I guess would be the way to place it, right?
That is such CEO talk. I love that. His store was kind of unbusy.
Busy. And I don't think it was the first store. It might have been soon after, but he, or maybe it was the first store. It doesn't matter. Same idea. And he would have customers for other restaurants and shops nearby park in basically his parking spaces. And, he was trying to explain to these people who are parking his parking spaces, like, these parking spaces are for Jeremiah's. You need to park in these other spaces for the restaurant you're visiting. And he had one woman tell him once that basically the equivalent of, well, sir, you're really not that busy, are you? Does it really matter if I park in this parking spot? And he understood. He understood what she was saying. And he has a lot of early day stories like that, where he got very grassrootsy, got very focused on this woman, tried to explain to her what was going on, put a coupon for Jeremiah's on her windshield after she left, and just literally went customer by customer, building the brand and little stories just like that. And that's kind of how we ended up where we are. It's kind of cool. So it actually occurs in a couple phases. What Jeremy and his early teammates back then did is launch the concept, kind of prove it out, get it working, and then started growing it. And a lot of the growth was right in Central Florida. We would eventually expand a little bit up to Jacksonville, a little bit to Tampa, and as far south as Coral Springs. But eventually, Jeremy and the team built out about 20 plus or minus company store locations. So owned them all. And it was in 2019 that Jeremy and some others started thinking about growth. And it takes a long time to grow a company-owned store system when you're opening one store at a time and you're doing it with your internal team. Another way to do it is to look to franchise it. And so Jeremy partnered with another organization that was really good at sort of selling franchise concepts. And so in 2019, that process started. And by 2020, some of the very first Jeremiah's franchise locations ever opened. And then it's been over the last 4 to 5 years that we've added nearly 130 stores, all franchised.
You were kind enough, Jeremiah's, to send over to the station, which I am not there yet.
But I am.
Ginger, you better not set that bag over at that table in the middle of the newsroom, because there will not be any left for me.
Vultures, I tell you.
They will. Oh, man. If you put a raw steak out in the middle of the newsroom, it'll just be bones. Okay, what
is happening here? I mean, look at the layers, though. Look at that. That is
incredible. That looks like one of our new Oreo beasts. That looks like one of our Oreo Palooza products. And that's just, well, once you start, you're going to end up at the bottom of the cup on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
There's only one way to find out. You got to start, right?
Look at her. She's going right after. So describe your product a little bit, because we've been talking the whole time about this business, but at the center of it is this particular product, which, look at Ginger's face. It seems to be going pretty well over there. It's a mix of that Italian. Sorry, Ginger, you describe what you're eating here.
Okay. This is, oh my God, it's not custard. It's okay. It's no.
Did you see his face? Did you see his face?
No, it's not. But it's like, but I'm saying there's something here. It's so like, okay, it starts at the beginning and then it just blossoms. And it continues. It continues to go. Oh, this is like, do you know how you do that? You do a wine tasting. This is what you should have. Do you have an opening for someone who can taste your ice cream?
A sommelier.
You can taste as much as you would like.
Ginger's going to start sniffing it like this.
Right.
Exactly. Rolling it.
No, that's delicious.
I'm going to ask you one final question. What is the future for Jeremiah's Italian Ice? You're at 150 stores now. You're all over the state of Florida. Is there a 5-year plan here? How big are you going to try to make this business?
Wow, that's great. It's good. It's a good CEO question. Thank you. It is. It's going really well growth-wise right now. We're adding about 40 or so stores each year. So in 2 or 3 years, we'll be closing in on roughly 300 stores. We're currently in 11 states. We're going to try to fill in those 11 states right now, because we're in a lot of places, from Florida to North Carolina, and then from Florida over to Arizona. A lot of really cool places to fill in. Could we end up going to another state or two? Yeah, that's entirely possible. So that's one thing that's happening. Almost all of our growth will be with franchisees. Really great men and women all around the country are kind of getting on board with the brand. So that part will be fun. And also, we're planning on introducing a whole array of cool new products over the coming years that hopefully come back to Ginger's point about Willy Wonka, that hopefully like delight Jeremiah's customers all over again. We're planning on doing some pretty fun, kind of crazy, colorful, flavorful things to just keep people pretty psyched about what's going on at Jeremiah's.
Michael Keller, CEO of Jeremiah's Italian Ice. If you're in Central Florida, you probably pass by one regularly. And as Ginger can attest, it's pretty good
10
stuff.
out of 10. Would recommend.
Woo! Go get you some water ice.
Water ice.
Water ice.